guys, how's it going? Eli here, back with another video where today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than how I usually structure my videos. It's going to be a three-part segment that I will be posting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. For those people that don't know, I am out of town currently in Arizona, checking out places to currently live. So these are all going to be pre-recorded videos that are going to not have to do anything with the news, but actually is going to be about the concept of how to create wealth / really looking at the in-depth ways on how investing in Pokemon cards potentially could actually save you money. But without further ado, let's jump into it. This will be part 1 of 3. This is going to be Monday's video. So for those, of course, who already know how we like to structure our videos, we do have weekly giveaways that we announce the winners on Monday. Today, of course, being that day, we're going to be saying that the people, of course, that won are each going to be receiving 8 Brilliant Star booster packs. If you would like to enter in, all you have to do is please subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below in any of the videos we post each and every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Of course, as well, since you can comment and like on each of the 3 videos, it allows you for multiple entries. And since we have 3 winners, then you have 3 opportunities to win. So now to the part of how we are going to announce the winners. As you can see, as I always like to do my videos, I will show you guys the 3 winners that were pulled from the random generator. Congratulations and shout out to Big Dog, Justin, Tagaris, and then Cheetown. Shout out to Cheetown. He's one of the regulars on our live streams. Always fun to see when we have a regular win. As always, if you guys want to send any sort of proof of verification letting me know it's you, you can shoot me that over on Discord. I might not respond right away to you guys. Obviously, I'm going to be out of town for the week, so I do apologize if there are any delays on receiving your overall giveaway packs. For those people that do purchase from the site, because we are going to be having a Cosmic Eclipse break this upcoming Sunday, don't worry, you're gonna still have your pack secured. And if you just purchase from the site in general, we'll make sure to still ship out your packages during the week if you do happen to order the expedited 3 to 5 day versus 7 to 9. So nothing to worry about on that kind of end. But yeah, just shoot me on Discord if you want to just join the channel as well and just be a part of the community. It's also a really fun group of people that like to discuss Pokemon and other things. But yeah, so what do I mean by today's topic on understanding how to save money and really create wealth? So obviously this channel is really centered around Pokemon investing news in Pokemon. Specifically by that we mean reprints. And so this is a topic that I feel like I really want to go in depth into on how you could potentially actually save a ton of money in regards to investing in Pokemon cards long term. And so what do I mean by that? So for those people that don't know, in regards to when, let's say you have accumulated $10,000 of Pokemon product over the next couple of years, right? Let's say that you're someone that's super serious about investing in Pokemon cards, and all of a sudden your plan is you want to sell in 3 to 5 years. Now let's say that you double your money, you triple your money, you quadruple your money, however much it is. Well, when you realize that profit, then you're going to have to pay a large amount of taxes on your Pokemon product. And so this is going to kind of be a video in which we talk about ways in which you can save money, not only off of the potential profit that you could potentially be losing out on via taxes, but also just the other ways in which you can find opportunities in owning your own potential online business or creating your own sole proprietorship and so on and so forth. And why for some people, when you really think about it, it actually, for such a little amount of work, could save you a ton of money in the long run. So, because there are a lot of people I know that are a part of this YouTube channel that basically they have tens of thousands of dollars of Pokemon product that they just are holding on to long term and that they invest in. And even for those people that only have a couple of thousand, and let's say that for you specifically, you have a goal of collecting 1 ETB for the next 3 to 5 years, each and every set release, right? And let's say you've been going back the past couple of years and collecting those, and eventually, who's to say you don't get bored of the hobby, right? Well, I do think it's worth it at some point to say to yourself, what if I created myself a sole proprietorship in which, specifically speaking, I generated a couple of, pieces of revenue here and there from resales each and every year. And the purpose of the resale was, short to medium term gains so that you would be able to then reinvest it back. Well, instead of having to pay taxes every single time that you make a profit, what if every time you bought Pokemon product, it became a business expense, and every time you pulled a profit, you could then write off that business expense by reinvesting it in more Pokemon. And so this is kind of where we're going to get into the fun part of a lot of the benefits of really opening your own Pokemon business. And this is one thing where this isn't going to be extremely structured, because like I said before, this is really a 3-part, but it's just going to go into just a lot of really big ways, like I said before, to save money and look at this as something that you do want to do long term, and something that could potentially, which might sound really crazy, you could use that money to buying yourself a new car in the next 3 to 5 years, buying yourself a home in the next, 5 to 10 years, or however long it is, depending upon what your kind of overall goals are. Because as we've talked about many times before on the channel, in regards to overall wealth that you can accumulate over time, especially if you play the Pokemon right properly, you could see greater returns than the overall stock market, especially if you play the reprint waves. I mean, as we've talked about many times, if you played the waves for Evolving Skies, if you played the waves for Brilliant Star, and really being able to play the reprints and getting in right before the reprints happen for a lot of these sets, then you would have walked away with double, triple your money in a 6-month period, a 3-month period, a 1-month period. Like the periods change, of course. So it's just one of these things of where, really understanding how this could be more than just like, I just invest in Pokemon products because I know it's got a potential good long-term growth, and how you could make this into a potential side hustle. So the first thing we're going to really go through is we're going to go through the different avenue ways in which you can really generate product. Let's say if you are someone who wants to open a sole proprietorship because you want to make this your full-time gig long term, or let's say that you're someone who just has a full-time gig already, but then you kind of do this on the side for fun. You flip Pokemon cards for fun, and you just really enjoy the hobby, and the whole goal is to just take that money and to use that money to increase your own collection. And that's the thing that's great about it, is if you do register under a sole proprietorship and you are selling enough Pokemon product, or you are grossing enough Pokemon product over time, you can literally use that money as, a way to fund your own collection, and just consider it to be long-term inventory that you're eventually going to sell over time after it's accumulated. So being able to understand the benefits of that will be huge. So looking at different ways in which you're going to be able to generate income is going to be the first and foremost most important thing. So the first and most important one, or I shouldn't say the most important one, but the kind of main option if you are going to look at this as, more serious. And then we'll go into the less serious kind of people and how I'm just more of a flipper and whatever. But if you are wanting to do this in a more serious matter, then I do think the most important thing would probably be getting yourself a distributor. If you can get access to a distributor, obviously, it's pretty much, you're going to have to jump through a lot of hoops unless you are a local game store. We're not going to go into the talk about local game store because that could take forever. And I really want to make this focus solely on those people that are just wanting to do this, as a side hustle, or transition into making this a part-time thing into a full-time gig. Having a, wholesale distributor, of course, is going to give you access to wholesale level prices, which will allow you to buy booster boxes, elite trainer boxes, and other product without having to pay taxes on it. Because when you, of course, are buying secondhand on, let's say, like a TCGPlayer and eBay, even if you're buying a booster box typically for $82, you're also paying the additional taxes on it. And so, depending upon where you're living, that could be anywhere between 5 to 8%. And if you just say on the low end, 5% of $82, that's going to be an additional $4. You're paying 86, or if it's 86, you're paying 90, versus if you're going to a distributor and you're saying I can buy a booster box for 82, 86 bucks and just kind of save $4, $6, $10, depending upon, of course, how much you're buying it from your distributor for each and every time. That's going to save you a lot in the long run. So I do think that for people that are kind of, big buyers, big sellers, being able to access a distributor will save you a lot of money long term. Being able to do that is going to take some time, of course, and it's going to have to have some sort of, typically speaking, sales history of you being able to show credibility of, hey, I started my business selling Pokemon, or hey, I have a YouTube channel that I generate revenue opening booster box breaks. And let's say that's what you start off doing. Let's say you don't have a distributor and you just start off buying booster boxes on the cheap, and then you do breaks at cheap prices, and you just have a history of showing that you can generate revenue, whether it be off of social media, or you decide to create your own website, or however you want to do it. Having a distributor, you don't have to have your own website to have a distributor. So that's one of the things that a lot of people have, they have, there's a misinterpretation on what the requirements typically are for a distributor. So, because I know a lot of people that just run eBay businesses or just run social media businesses on Instagram. So being able to have a distributor will open up a large avenue for you to have opportunities to generate revenue off of new product sales. Of course, if you don't have the opportunity to go distributor, or let's say you just want cheaper product, obviously trying to go secondhand, understanding the market in regards to when there's going to be pre-orders. Like, for example, when Evolving Skies first came out as a set, I saw some places that were selling it for as cheap as $100 a booster box, $110 a booster box. Literally, I think the most expensive place I saw at one point was TCGPlayer was selling it for $120, and that's at like a market value. So being able to afford, Evolving Skies booster boxes that cheap, and then you say to yourself, literally, you just wait a couple of months, when Wave 2 comes out and it goes upwards of 180, 190, you could have made a killing. Same with Brilliant Star. If you bought Brilliant Star on the pre-order prices of as low as 105, 110, and you're saying even right now, or to the lead up of the peak, reselling those pre-order prices, and that was giving you an opportunity to make profit off of that. So in no way is there, of course, going to be one option in regards to making profit off of distributors, but also understanding what sets are going to be the most popular and really trying to make pre-sales on that. Or Wave 2 sales right before there is a reprint that's happening. And of course, as I mentioned before, this is what this channel is about, is let you guys know about that. So that's a second way of being able to generate income in regards to selling just a large amount of, Pokemon product sealed specifically. Another way of generating profit is looking at it. Let's say you want to do a break, or let's say you want to buy old Pokemon card collections, or let's say that, specifically speaking, you just like going on TCGPlayer or eBay and just finding good deals, or Mercari and finding good deals. But going into these singles actually can be one of the most profitable ways to make a good return on potentially, generating sales. And so, because the thing is, as I mentioned many times before, if you do decide to open yourself a sole proprietorship, and it literally, for me, when it came to starting the business, the easiest part was registering as a sole proprietor. That took maybe a day or two for me to do. And when I say a day or two, I mean just a couple hours of research, me figuring out what I need to do, then getting licensed by my state, and then being registered as a sole proprietor business. That took me like no time at all. And so for those people that are like, well, why would I want to go through that hassle of doing that? The amount of money you could be saving by just doing something that would be so small and easy, it's going to save you so much money in the long run. And so for me, as far as it goes, once again, you don't have to start your own website. You can just generate business revenue through selling on other platforms. TCGPlayer is one of those great platforms where you can consider yourself to be a business, like myself, Pokemart USA, and I do generate revenue off of TCGPlayer. I am a direct TCGPlayer. I've got over 1,300 reviews. I've 100% on my rating. So as far as it goes, and there's a good chunk of money that I do generate, because obviously for me to make up on the discounted bulk prices, or for me to make up for the discounted losses that I give you guys from whenever I have, of course, my weekly breaks that we just started doing. As I've mentioned before, I lose money on those. Being able to sell the bulk cards kind of helps make up for the losses that I am potentially accruing, or for those people that, of course, are going to look at it from a profit perspective, like when I usually do my pre-order sales for whichever upcoming new set is, I'm able to, get bulk doing that, or I find deals on, social media pages or local pickups where I can find someone selling their bulk collection. You can really go through and find a lot of hidden treasures in regards to selling, Pokemon product. And you might say to yourself, well, okay, if I have Pokemon cards that are selling for, 10 cents a piece, why do I care about 10 cents of profit, And when I say 10 cents a piece, I'm saying you calculate after your gross expenses and everything, it comes out to 10 cents a piece, right? You might say to yourself, well, that doesn't seem worth it in regards to how much money and time I'm going to be spending into it. But at the end of the day, when you can accumulate more and more inventory and you start selling, 1,000 cards a day, and you calculate that by 10 cents, well, you just made $100, and let's say it takes you 1 day of shipping, and to ship out those 1,000 cards, let's say hypothetically that's how many you sell in a day because you've started to grow your business to that big enough of a point. Well, you just made $100, and it's going to cost you it's going to take you a couple hours to ship out, 3 hours, 4 hours, which for some people, they like that kind of work. You could literally just sit there, watch a movie, and then just, be packaging up your Pokemon product. And then you just made yourself $100, 25 an hour, or more, depending upon how quick you are with it. Or once you get to a high enough level and you have TCGPlayer Direct, then you only have to ship it out every couple of weeks. Of course, there's different fee structures, but ultimately the amount of time it's going to be saving you, because before for myself, I'd, be selling like $100 in Pokemon cards, a week as kind of like the, release of a new set. And oh, look, I just made $100 off a bulk in like 1 or 2 days, which for me, it was just extra side cash that was really nice for me to accumulate. And then it became one of these things where, look, I have TCG Direct now. I have more exposure to selling a lot of these individual cards at premium level prices. And so because of that, I was saving time, which was the most valuable thing for me. And instead of spending, several hours a week shipping up and, packaging up product and so on and so forth to make like a couple $100 for the week, I now instead was doing that, only once or twice a month because of the way in which TCG Direct likes to do things. And I was generating more profit because the sales increase that I would get off of the amount of volume that was coming in, because TCG Direct is a lot more desirable because you can save so much more just buying Pokemon product from one direct source instead of having to buy from 10 different sources and paying an additional $1 for each, card that you are not getting free shipping on. So it's one of those sources that could eventually be very much beneficial to you over time in the long run. So that's something that I think is very important to look into. And if you're just saying to yourself, like, I don't want to sell a lot of cards that are centered around bulk, you don't have to. You can go to like places like Mercari, you can go to places like, your local Craigslist pickups or Facebook Marketplace, and you can still flip cards and after fees, walk away with a killing, depending upon how much of a discount you bought the price for of a certain card, whether it be from a collection and someone didn't know the valuation, or they just wanted to get rid of it and they didn't want to go through and individually list all the cards themselves. There's so many opportunities for being able to make money off of singles. And so having that as a potential revenue source is also one that's very important to really look into and consider outside of, let's say you're trying to, like I said before, looking at generating sales off of overall sealed product. And so I would say then the third, and this is going to be the end of the video for part 3. I'm going to try and make these 20-minute videos so it's not going to be over an hour long for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But for the third option in regards to how you could potentially generate revenue over time is going to be just long-term holding. So you're going to have your 3, of course, areas of revenue. And this is where it's the most, in my personal opinion, important area when talking about how you're going to be able to more or less, harbor a lot of your profit, or reinvest a lot of your profit is a better way of calling it, we'll say, for legal reasons. Because when you talk about the fact of the matter, well, let's say that I have a bunch of the sealed product that I flipped in the medium or short term, or let's say I have a bunch of these singles that I flipped in the medium or short term, and at first it was just a side hustle and I made a couple $1,000s for a year, but let's say it eventually expanded, and well, what do you know, I just made $5,000-$10,000 plus at the end of the year, right? Well, if you're saying to yourself, I want to add on to my collection, or let's say I want to hold some of the product that I now have access to at deeper, discounted rates of buying from a wholesale distributor, or let's say that I just bought these on pre-sale for, $20, $30 under what was, the price before it really saw a spike within 3 months, 6 months later, and I really want to wait until the reprint, or let's say a new reprint happens, and you're saying to yourself, man, the booster box prices are now at like $90. I don't think they're going to go up for at least another year or two, and I really want to get in at this potentially amazing price point opportunity to where I could see this as a really good long-term investment in doubling, tripling price after it goes out of print rotation. Then this is where it's going to be your your opportunity to look at sealed holdings long term, because this is going to be something where the write-offs really come into play as a business expense. Because as a sole proprietor, and I'll go through how I basically do things, but basically I have my main job, and then I have this is kind of like my second job. So I do, if you were to take away all of the money that I've reinvested, if you were to take that all away, technically speaking, this could be a business that I could do full time, but and it would be something that I make enough money to survive off of. But long term, I have a lot bigger of a picture on the amount of money that I want to pour into the business, the amount of equity that I want to continuously reinvest in my inventory and long term product. And with that, it's going to allow me to then continuously write off all of my business expenses as my inventory accrues more and more over time. And so I will, for example, like I said before, I sell on TCGPlayer. Obviously, I'm accruing money off of YouTube, off of ad monetization. Of course, a good portion of that goes to giving away product to you guys, but I still have a little bit of that extra money that I'm able to make, whether it be on offsetting the expenses that I'm accruing from the discounted booster boxes that I'm selling to you guys on Sundays, or whether it just be taking that extra money and, reinvesting it in any sort of just general business expenses I have. But then outside of, the individual card sales, the YouTube sales, then I have sealed product sales that I'm selling from Wave 1 to any sort of reprints and other product that comes from Pokemon specifically during that time. That's where I'm going to basically be taking that money, that extra money that I'm making, and say, okay, let's say that I got $10,000 from the Pokemon company, and let's say that I netted 20% or 30%. That's about $2,000-$3,000, right? So of course I can either take that $2,000 and I can pull it and I can use it to say, pay off general expenses, or let's say, oh, I want to just take that money and I want to go, be on vacation, or I want to spend that for just a general, a general luxury for myself, whether it be going out to eat, or whether it be buying a new shoes, whatever it is, just generally something that's going to be non-business oriented, right? Or what I can do instead is I can have my second job or my first job, whichever you want to compare. This is job 1 or 2, and I can pay all my business or my general cost of living expenses with that job, and then I can use this job where every single piece of profit that I'm making, I'm reinvesting it in advertising towards the business. I'm reinvesting it towards giveaways and marketing myself. I'm taking that money and I'm reinvesting it in inventory long term. And of course, this is a bigger picture for myself, someone who's looking at doing this on a lot larger scale. But for someone, let's say, for generally speaking, people that, walk away with, let's say, $10,000 or $5,000 in profit, or just a couple $1,000s, enough to where, it really makes it worth it for you to have that kind of sole proprietorship registration with your state. You're saying to yourself, okay, well, I'm not looking at it from a bigger perspective of YouTube, or I'm not wanting to create my own website. I'm just doing TCGPlayer, eBay, local sales, whatever that might kind of look like, Instagram, whatever the route you decide to go. Still, regardless of the fact of the matter, this is just your opportunity to take that extra funds with this as your second job and basically reinvest it in growing your collection or growing your inventory, however you want to look at it, however you want to label it, and then just basically having that opportunity or that flexibility to use that product that you're generating, that you're basically able to create off of your overall profit sales, that you're just continuously compounding over time, right? So of course, with that, you can look at it from any sort of time frame lens. So what do I mean by that specifically? Let's say that a while back I had some Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes, and let's say that I bought these, I bought 4 cases, 5 cases of Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes, right? And let's say I sold 5 of those Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes at $40 a piece, right? Then all of a sudden I made a ton of money off of these Vivid Voltage Elite Trainer boxes. All of a sudden they come out with the second wave reprints on the Vivid Voltage ETBs, and now all of a sudden the price to sell them is a lot more expensive. But I think that, or it's going to be, the price to sell them, when I say more expensive, what I mean by that is I'm basically not going to be generating such revenue, right? Now let's say to myself, okay, well, I do think Vivid Voltage ETBs are going to do really well long term. I'm going to take the profit that I made off of Wave 1, and then I'm going to reinvest it in buying Vivid Voltage ETBs, whether it be at the current wholesale prices that I have access to because I have a distributor. And for those people that don't have access, take a look at Darkness Ablaze ETBs, for example. The price for what you can get them right now is ridiculously cheap compared to what they were going for not that long ago. So this is going to be a perfect example before we kind of wrap up the main point of this. Darkness Ablaze ETBs at one point were going for around $140. And so now, of course, you're able to get them for as cheap as around that $35 price point. I know some places are selling them for cheaper. You know, my whole current price point I can get it for my distributor is around $28. So when you really think about it, you know, of course you're getting them $6 higher, but still that's $5 under what is MSRP. So when you're saying to yourself, I'm able to get these Darkness Ablaze Elite Trainer boxes, which I was originally, you know, buying them back then for $40, selling them for $120, $130, because there was about to be a reprint that happened. Wave 2 comes out. You know, I say to myself, and by wave 2, you can look at it from either a wave 2 of a new set, or you can look at it for Darkness Ablaze as an example, just a new reprint for this Elite Trainer box coming out. However you want to look at it, you can now say to yourself, okay, this is an opportunity for me to take the profit that I accrued from holding on to my Darkness Ablaze ETBs for the first year or two. Originally, the example was Vivid, but I think Darkness is a better example. And I, you know, originally bought them for $40, and then I sold them up at $140, or maybe, you know, I found out about the reprint late and I sold them for 50, 60, 70. Either way, you made a profit, let's just say for the sake of this argument. Then you're saying to yourself, well, what do you know? I got them for 40 initially. I'm going to now double down and I'm going to reinvest that product right before it goes out of rotation. And I'm just going to continuously take that revenue that I just generated profit off of, and I'm going to reinvest it. And once it hits certain price points in which I find it to be profitable for me to really sell the product, then I'm going to take that money and I'm going to continuously reinvest it at other Pokemon opportunities that I could really see growth for in the next 6 months, 5 months, you know, 10 months, year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Either way, it depends on the time frame you're kind of looking at it, but specifically looking at it in the time frame of you're always just continuously reinvesting back into your business, your side hustle, you know, whatever you want to look at it, so that you're keeping your, you know, business expenses high and your inventory high, and just, you know, continuing to grow your overall inventory, which is then going to continue to make it so that you're not going to have a high amount of taxes that you're going to be paying at the end of the year, because all your profit is going to be taken out of account when it's going back into inventory. So that's kind of something that I think is very important to really understand, why ultimately speaking, this is going to be your real money saver at the end of the day when looking at that. Okay, how am I going to be making a ton of money and really saving ultimately at the end of the day, Eli? This is going to be the avenue in which you're doing it. But this is the point. We've been going for about 27 minutes right now. We're going to do a main wrap up. I'll try and see if I can do a little bit of chapters for this. I'm kind of on a, you know, I'm kind of on a time restriction right now because I'm getting ready to leave. But as far as the main points of the video, we're just talking about how opening yourself a sole proprietorship, regardless of whether you want to sell on a website, regardless of whether you want to sell on social media pages or just sell locally, could save you a ton of money in the long run. Number one, understanding that if you have a wholesale distributor or just playing the waves, that's how you're going to generate a lot of your money that you're going to be able to then, of course, later down the line reinvest in getting more Pokemon product. Two, really utilizing TCGPlayer and a lot of the opportunities you have for being able to sell single cards, whether it be going and buying up old collections, whether it be doing Pokemon breaks, however you want to do it, but and approaching it, but basically having a second source of revenue, being able to sell individual cards on top of sealed product on the secondhand market or from your wholesale distributor. And then part three, obviously, then really capitalizing on being able to have long-term sales by holding on to Pokemon products long-term, whether it be from a new reprint for, say, something like Darkness Ablaze happens, you see you can get it for $35. All that profit that you just made off of selling your singles, off of selling your sealed product that you played the reprint waves on, and then reinvesting it into this, which is then going to allow you to have a higher cost of goods, as well as increasing your inventory over time, which is then going to take your profits and reinvest it into the business again. So you're going to have less overall expenses in regards to taxes at the end of the year, because the overall taxable goods that you just sold went down, because it just happen to be that you're reinvesting everything instead of pulling profit off of Pokemon product. And especially for people that are looking at this as a way to increase their collection, they can do that one way, where instead of reinvesting in other product they think will create more money long term, they can instead reinvest that into an old booster box or an old Elite Trainer box that they personally believe is a card that they want, or a booster box they want, or a sealed product they want for their long-term collection, that either they just want to keep it because they like it as a part of their collection, or it's an item that you can use as inventory long-term that you think will do well down the line, that you can eventually sell for profit and just continuously bankrolling and increasing your overall inventory, or generate more revenue over time that's just going to go back into the business itself, so, or the side hustle, or however you want to look at it. But this is going to be the first part of the video. We're going to go, of course, more in depth into the aspect of how you can kind of create a business long-term. And this could be something that could really help save you a lot of money. There's a bunch of other things I really wanted to talk about. We're going to talk about this in part 2. We're going to talk about this in part 3 for Friday's video. But as always, we do our weekly giveaways each and every week. Of course, to be able to enter, just leave a like, comment down below, be subscribed to the YouTube channel. We post videos, of course, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So those are the ones you can enter in on by commenting and liking. 3 opportunities to enter, and then each winner, we have 3 winners, will each receive a Billion Star Booster Pack. So multiple ways to enter, multiple ways to win. A lot of opportunities for Pokemon product. But as far as it goes, thank you guys all so much for watching. Until then, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.